As they come thundering through the Ford chicane, it is the blue car, the Ford GT40 from Great Britain, leading the white Porsche. This could be the last lap. It could also be next to the last lap. At this point, because of the vital time factor, Phil Hill, you just don't know exactly where you are.
We've just all of a sudden noticed that it looks like they are going to cross the line either just before the 2 o'clock time or just after, which makes it practically impossible for anybody to let these two fellows know whether there's going to be one lap or whether there's going to be 2 laps left. You know, it's a big deal. There's a lot of strategy going on here right now between who is going to do what on the final lap. No one knows.
And the battle between Jackie X in the blue car and Hans Hermann in the white Porsche has been going like this for the better part of 2 hours, the final 2 hours of the 24 hours of Le Mans. In other words, an endurance race has almost turned into a 24-hour sprint. And I understand that Chris Economaki in the pits has a new specter to cast across this brilliant finish.
Right, but the late development here in the pits is that David York, team manager for the Ford, is concerned about petrol. He says it will be very tight. He has his fingers crossed, and he threw this at me. He said Porsche should be very tight as well.
So it would be absolutely incredible if one of these cars should run out of gas. And now watch the drafting that's going on as Hans Hermann and the Porsche takes the lead on the Bolton straight.
Yeah, but I think he's done it too soon. He did it so soon and so slowly that now each can get back by again. Look, he should have stayed back there and got a real run at it. Each is back by again, and now there's not enough time for the Porsche to redo it to him because the kink will be coming up here in a minute. His right hand flat out 200-mile-an-hour turn for the faster car, 195 or something like that. There they go through it.
It is the blue Ford, John Wyers Ford, the very same car that won here last year that is holding the lead right now. Only a few components changed in it. This is the Mulsanne corner, the slowest portion on the 8.36-mile road course here at Le Mans.
Well, the question here, and it seems to me that Porsche is going to have an awful lot of trouble passing the Ford between Mulsanne turn, what we just saw a minute ago, and the finish line, because the road holding definitely seems to be in the factor of the Ford and Jackie Eakes, how much of which, you know, we don't really know. Jackie Eakes is a fantastic driver. Not that Hermann isn't good himself, but Eakes is really terrific, and that Ford really seems to have an edge on cornering.
I think we'll get a fair sample of that right here, Phil, as they head up into the Indianapolis turn, the only left-hand turn on the course.
Well, we'll see here. I think the place you're really going to see the difference, if there is any, is between, you know, maybe at White House, where they're going really fast.
Around Arnage, which is almost a 90-degree turn, and they'll run down the straight into the Maison Blanche or White House area, which is very tough and where the roadability of the lead car may prove itself out.
I don't see how the Porsche is ever going to get him now, unless, well, I just don't see it. Here they are approaching White House. It looked like another car was in the picture there. Let's see.
And keeping an eye on the clock, I don't believe this is going to be the last lap. They're going to have to make one more, because I think if they continue at this pace, both of them will flash over that start-finish line in front of 2 o'clock, which means they will have to go around one more time.
It's going to be awful close. Here's where the accident was yesterday, where one of the Porsches and one of the Ferraris, 50% of the Ferrari team out.
Here's Jackie X. There is no finish flag up as they come whistling toward the Ford chicane. But X, in getting through that chicane first, knew he could have won the race had the checkered flag been up. But it is not out. They'll have to go around one more time, because 2 o'clock will not happen until they are somewhere down in the Mulsanne straight area.
Now we'll have to see whether one or the other of them has given away his hand as to what he intended doing on the last lap. There's a strong possibility that they both had a particular plan that they've been studying for hours now as to just what they were going to do and where they thought they had the advantage to get something over the other one. Now, look, that Porsche, even though he's back quite a distance now, is still well within the range of getting a good tow from the Ford going down the Mulsanne straight. We'll see what happens now.
The Porsche is the lighter car and was thought to be faster. However, both these cars have been running within just fractions of their maximum performance. Their fastest time trials here over the last 3 or 4 hours, literally.
Let's not forget that the Porsche's time was only 2 seconds faster than the Ford in practice, And, you know, they're both running right up near the... Here he is. He's getting ready to pass now. He's done it. I think he's done it too soon because surely the Ford will be able to latch onto him and do it again now.
It's certainly important to remember this is 3.2 miles straightaway, and there's also a kink and a hump toward the end of it. Now let's watch Jackie Ickx, the blue car.
He's going to do it. He's done it. Look at that. He's actually gone on by him, and I don't think there's going to be enough time for the Porsche to repass him again. If there's any, here it comes. He's had it. He's had it. The road's blocked. They're now both going to have to stay over the left side of the road in order to get through the kink, which should be, there it is right now. There's no way that Porsche can get by the Ford. It doesn't break any better, the Ford. We've already seen that for hours now. He cannot get him before the moves-on turn.
Jackie Ickx, one of the young lions. In fact, I think you hold him in the highest regard, Bill.
Jackie Ickx is fantastic. He's shown tremendous prowess right from the time he first appeared on the scene. He's done brilliantly ever since.
Jackie Ickx is taking the final turn. He will take the final 2 hours. There had been some talk that they might make a driver's change, putting Jackie Oliver into the cockpit, but not so.
Amazing thing is that this Ford, if it manages to win this race today, is the same doggone car that won it last year.
And there were a squadron of 7 factory Porsches brought here. Only one is now running, and it at the moment looks destined for second place. And the one jewel in endurance racing that Porsche has never claimed looks like it may elude them again. But again, remember, there was the factor of fuel. Fuel. Will there be enough to go all the way? And if there is, it seems highly likely that Jackie Ickx is going to win it as they come off Ornard.
Well, from now on, this whole darn track is nothing but road holding and acceleration and speed. The White House are the only critical turns that rest now between the outside of the Ford chicane, that rest between the finish line and these fellows right now.
And we know this is the last lap because it is now well beyond the hour of 2 p.m. The race starting 2 hours earlier in 1969 because of national elections.
Here they come through there. Look at that. Ickx had to pinch it in there tight at the last minute.
Here they come toward the checkered flag.
The Ford's got it. The Ford's got it. There's no earthly way the Porsche can do it.
Ford, the very same car that won in 1968, wins the 1969 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Oh, fantastic. It's really unbelievable. Boy, he had a mighty hard spell at the wheel this time. He drove the whole thing within seconds of the maximum time that he ever drove in practice. And at Le Mans, that is really something.
Now, as Jackie Ickx and Jackie Oliver take their victory rides, let's go downstairs to Chris Economaki.
I feel as though I might have won Le Mans. I'm walking alongside the victor. Jackie, you're up there. How's the weather up there?
Well, it's wet. I think it's raining champagne.
Jackie, was it a tough one for you?
Yeah, it was very tough, especially at night with the fog. I'm very pleased with Jackie, although he drove extremely well under the pressure at the end of the race there.
Do you think if he'd run across the track at the start, he'd have won by a little bit more?
I think so. He lost that 10 seconds we needed when he walked across in protest for the Le Mans start. But there you are, made an exciting race for the spectators.
All right, there you have it from Jackie Oliver on the shoulders of his mechanics. Chris Economaki down here in the crowd. Back to you, Keith Jackson.
Once again, the final order of finish. A Ford GT40 entered by John Wyer of England, winning for a second successive year. Jackie Ickx and Jackie Oliver driving to the victory, just seconds ahead of a Porsche 908 with Hans Hermann and Gerard Larousse driving. Number 3, another Ford GT40. Remarkable automobiles with David Hobbs and Michael Halewood driving. The winning car and the pursuing Porsche averaged better than 130 miles an hour for 24 hours and traveled in excess of 3,100 miles, and that's a little farther than driving from New York to Los Angeles. And now this is Keith Jackson along with Phil Hill and Chris Economaki saying adieu from the 37th running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We'll return to our live coverage of the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Knoxville, Tennessee in just a moment.